Hare Krishna, dear everyone. My humble greetings to all of you all. I'm Dr. Mamta Mahanti, the Malini Devidasi, founder director of Ashram Intellectual Creativity and Education Consultancy. It's a center for girls, women, and children. Presenting to you a series of lectures for all faculty members and especially B.Ed students of Madhya Pradesh and surrounding areas. This lecture series is mainly for two papers, that is language across the curriculum and reading and reflecting on texts. Though these papers are very specific to B.Ed students, however, the content of this video will be beneficial for all the faculty members in general as well, those who want to integrate language and literature in their mainstream curriculum. Though the series are free uploads, however, there are certain things that you should know about what Ashram ICEC does. Ashram ICEC is a self-funded organization or a center that works for the benefit of girls, women, and children. Ashram ICEC runs different programs for women, girls, and children, which include both educational and cultural services. All in all, some of the programs are paid, and some of the programs are conducted free of cost. And since it engages women in variety of activities, constructive devotional activities as well. So if you would wish to donate at the end of the video, please write to me at ashramicec@gmail.com. The money that is raised is completely utilized for distributing free prasadam or food to the needy, and also funding various other cultural activities that Ashram ICEC conducts from time to time. Moving on to the important topic for all the B.Ed students and their faculty members. This is a book, this is a publication of Ashram ICEC, and as you can see, it is a publication based on the two papers, that is language across curriculum and reading and reflecting on texts. Though I have tried to stick to the series or the sequence of the topics that has been prescribed in especially in the Barkatullah University's syllabus. However, I felt that both these papers, that is language across the curriculum and reading and reflecting on texts, are interspersed, and not one paper, none of these papers actually stands independent of the other. So many of the topics that are given in LAC, that is language across curriculum, and reading and reflecting on text, that is RRT, I would be referring to language across curriculum as LAC and reading and reflecting on text as RRT. Both the topics that are given in these two papers are intertwined, interspersed. So one cannot study these papers independent of the other. Maybe for various reasons they may have put it in such a way. But as far as my knowledge goes and as far as my experience goes, I have put all of that in one particular sequence, thought-wise progression, so that students are able to understand the things better. Even if somebody is not a B.Ed student, even if somebody is a faculty in general and teaching somewhere in some school or even in college for that matter, this particular series is meant for everyone, since I would be touching upon many strategies and many thoughts that would help faculty members to integrate language and literature in the mainstream curriculum. And this reminds me that Ashram ICEC is going to very soon is going to conduct a faculty development program for all the faculty members of all the schools, and the topics would be diversified as communication skills, presentation skills, value integration in your mainstream curriculum, etc. So anyway, coming to the first topic, I will be doing these lecture series in short videos, say for 10 minutes, 15 minutes, something like that. So maximum you would see would be of half an hour, and that's about it. So that's it, the bell rang. That's the Lord's word. So that's how, it has got the sanction. So moving on to our first topic of language across curriculum and reading and reflecting on texts. What is language? What is language? Many of the people, even in the educational fraternity, confuse between language and literature. And I was amazed when people used to come to college and they used to think that, if we take literature, we will automatically learn language. And because they wanted to learn language, they opted for literature as a subject. So which signifies or which indicates that perhaps in schools the fundamentals of language and literature is not taught very, very clearly to students. So generally, I'm talking about the scenario in Madhya Pradesh. I'm not talking about the scenario in bigger cities or somewhere else, because in India, how many bigger cities do we have? Maybe 5, 6, 7, not more than 10. If we count, a town like city like Bhopal or somebody else, we don't have many cities. Still, people live in town like cities, and still people are ignorant about many, many small things, material things, I'm saying. So, language and literature are two different things altogether. And this particular paper is titled Language Across Curriculum. Though it should have, the title should have been, I think, something different. This is a suggestion from my side to whoever takes a decision on these particular papers. And surely the papers, the syllabus of the papers need lots of improvement as far as the content of syllabus is concerned. So language is, normally people think that language is the language that we speak. We may be speaking in Hindi, we may be speaking in English, we may be speaking in Bengali, or we may be speaking in Marathi, we may be speaking in Punjabi, we may be speaking in some other language. This is language, but no, language is not restricted to the word-to-word communication that we do. Language means body language as well. Well, that is how love happens. People don't speak, but their eyes speak, and you get to know that, okay, there are signals. So body language is another type of language. There are people, bird watchers, there are people who communicate with other creatures in this world. So, and there are people who know thousands and thousands of languages. So there are different types of languages that the Lord has developed. So language doesn't necessarily mean the words that we speak, or the sound again is another type of language. That is why, we have different types of concepts like paralanguage and stuff like that, and body language is the biggest part. And it is said that whatever we communicate, 90% of the communication, more than 90% of the communication actually happens through body language. So as we move on, I will be touching upon different contexts related to language in different countries, and then we will understand that what is the role of language in different contexts and in different scenarios. So that is one thing. And now coming to the B.Ed students and how we can utilize language. Language is actually the connecting thread, and unfortunately the Western system of education is a compartmentalized system of education, at least the system in which we are today. It's compartmentalized. Social studies, geography, this, that, science. We forget very, very often faculty members and generally the education fraternity forgets that somewhere our life is not compartmentalized, our life is not fragmented. Yes, for operational purposes we have fragments. We operate, if we are operating in one scenario, we switch off from other scenarios, but that doesn't mean that we are completely switched off from other scenarios. So just like life is not compartmentalized, everything meshes up with everything else. Similarly, knowledge also is not compartmentalized. Every part of one subject is somewhere connected to other. If you don't know math, perhaps you won't be able to figure out that how many years does our history go back. If you don't know science, we will not be able to understand our mind body system. And science doesn't necessarily mean only mechanical science. Spirituality is a great science. In fact, many people say, not say, it is an established fact that out of all these subjects, spirituality is the most intelligent subject. After spirituality comes psychology or philosophy and psychology. After philosophy and psychology come material science, because these deal with dead matter, and we can play with dead matter as per our intelligence, as and when we would like to. So there is and slightly a sharper person would be able to play with everything. So without language, you won't be able to communicate anything, any knowledge. Even people who are dumb or deaf, they too have sign language. So without language, we are like handicapped. So thinking that language just means speaking fluently, or knowing many languages, or being very well versed in a language, doesn't put across the point properly. If you speak, many people, many of the leaders actually were not very good orators. Many of the leaders actually made very huge mistakes while they spoke. But the thing is, people were glued to what they were saying because they had content. So where language is very important, we have to understand language in its entirety. We have to understand language, how it has miniatures, and how it has bigger picture. So right from a smaller point to a bigger point, language is the connecting thread of all the knowledge systems of the world, and that much important language is. And it encompasses knowledge from all the subjects, be it physics, chemistry, math, biology, psychology, philosophy, spirituality. If we don't take language into consideration, as to who is the into consideration properly, if we don't use proper words, if we don't use proper sense of language, then perhaps all our possibilities of touching upon the audience will go at a toss. And language differs from person to person. A good communicator would always know that he or she has to shift the level of language as per the level of the audience. So so language acts as a very strong combining force of whatever is available in this universe, which is why I often, tell this in my classes, that which is why language was given so much importance, and Sanskrit is supposed to be the mother of all languages. And if you look around, in Hindi you can give nice good galis. In any of the regional languages, you can give, you can use n number of x, y, z, star words. But Sanskrit is one language where you cannot give gali to a person. Maximum you can say is, he's a moodha. Moodha matlab, isko to kuch samajh hi nahi aata hai. मतलब ज़्यादा से ज़्यादा, but you cannot use some other languages. In English you can give lot of galis, and abusive words are there, a lot of abusive words now these days. So it has become so common that the more people are advanced, and the more people get acquainted with more materialistic things, people use all types of words, especially the younger generation. So it plays a very important role, and moreover, language is a reflection of the society we live in. So from Sanskrit comes Sanskriti. Look at the difference. From Sanskrit comes संस्कृति। जब आप किसी को गाली ही नहीं दे सकते हो कि भैया सामने वाले ने आपके साथ कितना ही बुरा किया हो, आप उसको मैक्सिमम बोल सकते हो मूढ़ा है, मतलब अरे इसको समझ नहीं आता इसलिए तो वो ऐसे काम कर रहा है, बुरे कर्म किए होंगे लेकिन उसको ये नहीं पता कि भैया उसका कर्म उसी पे जाएगा क्योंकि वो मूढ़ा है। हम क्या कर सकते हैं, उसने हमारे साथ बहुत बुरा किया, लेकिन हम उसको गाली भी देंगे तो कब तक गाली देते रहोगे, कब तक उसके ऊपर आप कुछ नहीं कर सकते। So language is that important. So from Sanskrit comes Sanskriti. So Sanskrit is a Daivi language, which is why Sanskrit is called the Daivi language. And you change a part of a sentence from here to there, the meaning doesn't change. In English, you change one word from here to there, and the whole meaning changes. So Sanskrit is not a loosely knit language. The other languages have their own respective rules. So that important languages. So coming to the generation down the line today, I was saying that language reflects the way we are, reflects the people we are, reflects our society. So if you see these days we do a lot of messaging. So our main agenda is how come how to message in small simple words. So one word there, one word there, and I don't know how to autocorrect also these days. So sometimes I'm trying to type one word and some other word gets typed, so I have to actually send a sorry message that I'm sorry, I didn't mean this, and it got typed like that. So there are a lot of things that are coming into the system of language and communication with the advent of technology, and which is very, very, I believe it's scary, because people should actually understand that how sacred and how blessed we are to have this type of language. And because language emanates from the Lord, we have to respect the fact that the Lord has given us the power to use words. Lord has given us a system where everything is language. Television has a language, movies have language. If you watch stupid movies have language. There is a language that is that comes to you very obviously through words that is said, but there is a hidden language that is getting trapped into the mind through the subconscious antenna. So there are two aspects of language, conscious and subconscious as well. So so it's not as simple as people think language to be. It is high, it is complicated, and it has to be understood in the proper light, which is why people do loose talks, people use words very loosely, without even thinking what would be its impact. Just like you use positive words and you feel very positive, which is why in Krishna consciousness we say that chant the Lord's name. Why in KC? Yes, because I belong to the KC fraternity, but in every religion it is people who are religious would surely understand. In every religion focuses chant the name of the Lord, because the name of the Lord has the potency, has its vibration, has its strength, has its stamina. So just like the name of the Lord has its power and the stamina, similarly every positive word has its stamina and strength, and every negative word has its power and strength and stamina to communicate something, which is why we must have so much of control on tongue. So we actually preach chant Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. So the vibration of the Lord's name actually sinks into the system, so you feel more energetic, more powerful, more not exactly powerful but more positive, and you know exactly what's your goal, because it clears up so many other languages that are going on in the mind. So so language is that powerful. Think about it, that you have been using too many filthy words throughout the day, and you feel worn out by the end of the day. And The children, I don't know why students use that. I was not acquainted actually with many of the words here in Bhopal, because generally people in Bhopal are simple. At least during when I was in college, way back in say 2000 and 1998, 99, 2000 till 2002, we never saw, and maybe because our college atmosphere was like that, and it was a girls' college, so and it slightly had that spiritual touch. Not slightly, it was very spiritual that way. So so I had never heard words like that, and some of the words I didn't even know the meaning of. And in Bangalore and in Ahmedabad, when I went to bigger institutes to teach, and I started interacting with students, bigger students, engineering students, management students as a professor, and then I realized, oh my God, and then I started realizing the state of mind, because language is a clear-cut indicator of our state of mind. Why only language? If some days you are not very peaceful, and you don't feel very integrated in your thought, action, and words, you will definitely see that you're not able to communicate properly on that day. So suppose you're not able to communicate on some day very properly, just take a deep breath, do some 5-10 minutes meditation, calm yourself down, and then you try to communicate. Sorry if the video becomes hazy, because the sun is setting now. It's evening. I'm anyway going to end the video. So this is all about language. So language is this important. And for writing purpose, for writing your answers, how to write your answers, all this is given in this book. Kindly order your book today, and I will send it to your address. I had actually given it to stationery, and I had actually asked some of my students to buy these books when I was teaching in college. So some of my students bought, some of them didn't, and some of the copies I have given it to a shop. And if any of you would like to have a copy of this book, then please do order. So we are at the end of the first, just a very small part of this long lecture series. So this is about what is language. This is the broad understanding of what actually language is. So thank you very much. Hare Krishna. Thank you, Pushpa Bhabi.